And I'm not
Yo,
gonna
Murder,
go.
if you listening, you should you should taking notes.
I'm not gonna go too much over this because this is actually old news. The Kendrick Lamar versus Drake. That's old news by now. We all know this. Drake put out a lawsuit, not against Kendrick, but the record label, UMG. And something interesting came out of that battle.
Okay.
So while Kendrick Lamar was going viral for one of his songs, a line in Kendrick Lamar's song was, "Don't let no blank comedian talk about black women, that's law." He didn't say a name. He just said, pardon me, "Don't let a blank comedian talk about black women, and that's law." And that erupted something from a comedian called Andrew Schulz. So Andrew Schulz pretty much felt that line was directed at him.
Okay.
Now there's other white comedians. There's Gary Owens. There's other non-black comedians. But
Right.
Andrew Schulz felt that line was about him. So I guess in a podcast, I forget the name of the podcast, like comedians, he doubled down. He pretty much said, "Oh, you know, Kendrick's talking this, but he got records with Future who don't care about black women." And then it got disrespectful. It went to, well, you know, nobody's really. He tried to clean it up by saying, yeah, his crew would beat me up, but if I was alone with Kendrick, I would do him dirty. He actually said, and this is where the internet erupted, he said, if I was in a cell with Kendrick Lamar, I would make love to him, and he would have to decide,
God.
is it consensual?
Oh my God.
Because he feels that Kendrick Lamar is 5'6", he's short, and he can overpower him. So what Andrew Schulz is describing is classic rape. But that's his dark humor because he's a comedian.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think he took it too far.
But can comedians take it too far? Because certain people were caping for him, saying, well, what if that was Richard Pryor? What if that was Eddie Murphy?
No.
You think there's some context to this that...
Yeah, I mean, you just shouldn't have said that. I mean, especially in this era. It's just like, yo, you know how traumatizing that is? Do you understand that? Do you like, you know, and you talking about like, yo, you would why would you even?
That was his.
Why would what?
You could have said you could have stomped him out.
Facts.
I would body him. I would smack him up.
Would you say that? Why? Okay, if something happened to him, nobody should get upset.
But he started crying 2 days later.
He did?
Because the internet, I guess, started harassing his family. And
Who, Andrew Schulz?
Yeah. Oh, people made comments under my wife's picture, and
yeah, I don't know nothing about that.
oh, somebody made a comment under my child's picture.
No, that's too far too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But you put the energy out there first,
right?
Like me and you always said, when you disrespect somebody, and I understand where it's too far, you can't dictate how them or the people around them respond.
Right.
So if I call you out your name, if I smack you, if I do something despicable to you, I can't dictate how your man responds. It would be nice if he plays by the rules, but
yeah,
there's no rules in this.
Right.
So I just felt that was kind of interesting.
No. I get it. But my whole thing is like, I'm with you. Like, why you ain't just say, yo, I'll mollywop him or whatever? Yo, you say, yo, I would take him down. What's wrong with you?
So here's a bigger conversation on that same topic.
No, you don't get smacked for that. Go ahead.
Now, he's been in comedy for a while. And obviously, I'm not really familiar with him, but he's been in comedy for a while. But where he came into our space is because he kind of got a cosign from Charlemagne the God.
Yeah, I heard he just like didn't sit there and say anything.
So the conversation then becomes, are we mad at Andrew Schulz, or do we start looking at people like Charlemagne the God that keeps inviting these cats to the cookout, that's putting their feet up on our table?
I don't know if you can with Charlemagne because he's never really opened a door for anybody to do something like that. So I don't think he knew it was coming, but I think he should put his foot down like, you can't be talking like that, man. Like, you know how traumatizing that is? Like, do you hear yourself? But if Kendrick caught you slipping, and came somewhere. First of all, height has nothing to do with it.
Short people can fight.
Son, Mike Tyson. You see how many people he knocked out that was big 2 times his size and rocked them, right? So that has nothing to do with it. You just hoping that that's what happens because you got height over him. You don't want to be embarrassed and getting your ass whooped. That's one. 2, you shouldn't even be. I just don't know why you would go there with that.
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever talk to another man like that and say, "Yo, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do," and yo, you just gonna lay down and
take it.
Take it. Like what? Who? Why? Sorry. Why? Why would you do that? So I don't get it. Maybe it's just me.
I think a conversation, because a lot of other things is happening in the background. I know you're not too in tune with social media. Like, I'm really on the socials a lot.
Yeah.
But there's a conversation about gatekeeping our hip hop culture, because people is kind of putting their feet up on our table, getting comfortable rearranging the furniture too much within the culture of hip hop.
Right.
So there was another conversation on the back end of this. It was some famous blog. I forget the name of the blog, but it's big because a lot of rappers freestyle on it.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it real quick. Give me 2 seconds. On the Radar Radio.
Okay.
So On the Radar Radio, pardon us, is a platform, and one of the producers on there, I forget his name, he's non-black, he made a statement that had people scratching their head. You can walk through, Ty. Shout out to our engineer that makes all this possible.
Facts. Facts.
He made a comment that made a lot of people scratch his head. He got on camera after eating off hip-hop culture and said, yo, man, when it comes down to production, I really don't like when I hear soul samples in hip-hop. Now, me and you don't have to understand what I'm saying because we live the culture.
Right.
What you mean you don't like soul samples in hip-hop? That's the special sauce in our gumbo.
Right.
Yo, get that out of here. That's what he said. While he's eating off the culture.
That's crazy.
What are your thoughts on cats from the outside who's eating off the culture making statements like that?
I think that's crazy. Like, I think that's ignorant, naive, and stupid. That's me being nice about it. What are you? Why would he even say I don't like that soul music? No, nobody ain't ask. First of all, what soul does he have? Like, there would be no Wu-Tang, Public Enemy, Biggie, classic songs, classic music.
That sample James Brown.
Yeah, soul music. What are you doing?
This is why I like where there was an artist from Cali that said this. They were interviewing him, and I forget the young blood's name, but Charlamagne asked him, like, when did you fall in love in hip hop? And he kind of retorted, and it took them a while to get to what he was saying. He was like, what you mean when I fell in love in hip hop? There's no date on that. That's like asking when you fell in love with your mother. You don't, you just do. You're born into it.
Yeah.
So when we hear statements like that from within our culture, you don't like soul music, you don't like James Brown because you're not us.
Right.
Those where those soul samples come from. People sampling Sam Cooke.
Yeah.
Like those classic R&B singers and funk singers and blues singers and Miles Davis, and the list goes on and on and on for the classic songs that got sampled to make hip hop records. That Dr. Dre sampled to make Snoop. Like, you'll be surprised at some of the samples that made the classic songs.
Yeah, he's bugging out. He's seriously bugging out.
That means you don't like the culture of hip hop. But the problem is we got comfortable with saying everybody's accepted within our culture, and they're now starting to say,
show their ass. Yeah.
Well, not just show their ass. They want to rearrange the recipe, because when you take soul out the recipe, that's like taking the seasoned soul out the food.
Which is nasty.
So now you can say that everybody owns it.
Right.
Everybody created it. No.
He said no.
So that's just my thought on that, man.
Right.